But first, for now, we're going to take a groundbreaking look at addiction. More than 23 million Americans struggle with it, but less than 10% get the help they need. And HBO is airing a landmark series called Addiction. It may help change that. It begins next week. And we're joined this morning by Anna Rose Childress. She is featured in the series as one of the country's top addiction experts. It's good to have you here.
Good morning.
I think if there's one thing that occurs to me when you read through the documentary, it's that we've spent a lot of time thinking addiction is just a character issue. If you just have discipline, right, you can do things differently. And you're saying medical evidence now is getting very strong about the role of the brain.
Yeah, it looks and more looks as though you're having to play out the hand you're dealt in terms of the brain that you come into the world with. And then if you slosh more drug on the brain, you are going to change the brain in ways that make it even more difficult for you to manage your desire states.
So it's one thing to say that some people with a certain kind of brain chemistry should be disciplined, and quite another thing, if you have a different brain chemistry, that discipline is a different order of magnitude.
Yeah, we're not all equally endowed when it comes to managing our desire states.
All right,
would it be that we could be all equally endowed, but we're not.
Because we do hear over and over again from people who profoundly want to change addiction and can't, and we have one of the sound bites from the documentary.
I've been trying to get off opiates for over 4 years, and I've been trying to do it by myself. And I realized that after 2 or 3 years of trying to do it by myself that I need help and that I can't do it by myself.
Quitting so hard.
So very hard, and we pitch it in terms of, at this point, two sort of competing brain systems that are in a waged battle, essentially, for the final decision to use or not use.
Take us now through these pictures you have, because they're pretty graphic examples of what you're talking about. We first of all have a brain scan of someone who does not use drugs, has not used drugs. Right. That's the top one. What are we seeing?
Right. So what you're seeing up there is a pattern of normal activity. So even the brain at rest is very active. And you see areas of
yellow is activity?
Activity, and it's important areas of the brain that are involved in decision making and helping you decide whether to go with the impulse toward reward, whether it be dark chocolate or good sex, things that are important for your survival. So in the normal brain, all systems are online and things are working well. In the next line of images, the line of images that look sort of dark blue, this is a brain that's been exposed to a lot of cocaine. And you can see that the lights are out, and so that basically a lot of activity in these regions that are critical for helping you make good decisions and for putting on the brakes is really low. Really low.
The lights are literally out.
And then the other encouraging part, though, in the third line of images, is that you can also see the lights are beginning to come back on after some period of extended abstinence.
How long would that be?
So in this case, on this particular subject, it's 100 days after the last use, and there's a little bit of recovery. We are really excited about the fact that the brain has great plasticity, and as we heard in the first hour this morning, recovery after brain injury, tremendous things can happen in brain in terms of healing. So recovery.
And what you've seen medically, then, it's simultaneously shocking how the lights go out and then encouraging that they come back
Very encouraging, and of course what we're looking for are treatments that can encourage that recovery, that can support that recovery.
Ask you, once you know this physiologically about brain chemistry, what does it change in terms of treatment and in terms of saying to someone, you can stop, here's how?
Well, it's really actually full of hope. I mean, some people might think you're showing all these brain cards stacked against you, so, oh my gosh, should we just throw in the towel? Not at all. It's actually quite the opposite. Because if you can see what's broken, now you can begin to target your treatments to fix it, right? If you can visualize it. And so this is really the first time in all of human history where we could visualize our struggle with desire and be able to target our treatments toward these brain systems that help us with that. So it's actually a time of great hope.
Different medications to help you get off drugs.
Medications and behaviors.
Right.
Both.
And the sheer act of seeing it has, I suppose, a transforming effect on some addicts.
Well, in fact, seeing the cues related to drugs can set off a whole chain of very powerful reactions. So if I saw dark chocolate in the bakery window, I might feel a response, a pull. For our patients, that pull is many, many times stronger. And the brakes in the brain, as we saw with the dark areas, may not be up to the task.
Well, again, it is a series that explores a whole new frontier of understanding addiction. The HBO series begins next week and includes the companion book, Addiction. Read a chapter at our website, abcnews.com.